Hey, hello everybody. Welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having a great day. Ledger currently has a restock of some of their most popular items, including the Ledger Flex and the Ledger Stacks. Oh, look. Wow, that's a touchscreen. Ledger also has their Nanos now in a wide range of colors, including gold. That's a thing that rich people buy. Ledger also has a brand new section for, if I can ever scroll down to it, there we go, gift cards. Ledger now has gift cards for that special person in your life who wants to be a millionaire. While I do not work for Ledger, I am an affiliate, and I have an affiliate link in the description below for those of you looking to secure your crypto. And without any further ado, let's jump right into it. This was surprising, but not that surprising. This was like, oh, okay, but then it also began to make a lot more sense. As we have been going over for the last couple of weeks at this point, no matter which, you'll see this is a special one. No matter which direction you turn into, every analyst and every wealthy rich person in the cryptocurrency space is dramatically, incredibly bullish on Bitcoin, on altcoins, and the cryptocurrency market as a whole entity. This one kind of shocked me, but then I also realized exactly what was going on. It's nothing negative. It was just more of a, I see what you did there. Bitcoin apparently could climb to as high as 250,000 US dollars by the end of this year or the beginning of 2026. This is according to, they call him the blockchain entrepreneur. His name is Charles Hoskinson. Yes, my friends, we're getting it from all areas right now. Charles Hoskinson, famous for, I guess, his last name, has announced over the last couple of months, it's been very interesting if you've kept up with it. He no longer is arguing with people online now. Charles Hoskinson now apparently is trying to integrate with the XRP blockchain. He's trying to, I believe, it's meant to be a layer 2 solution for Bitcoin to allow Bitcoin staking through Cardano, as well as trying to extra integrate with Ethereum for DeFi purposes. They're all DeFi, but I think that one is meant to be like just DeFi, DeFi, DeFi. I think the XRP one is also, he's trying to get the Ripple stablecoin minted on top of that chain as well. Has essentially come out as a Bitcoin supporter, talking about the price of the #1 cryptocurrency. It's interesting because normally you wouldn't hear someone saying something like this. We had something similar recently with Changpeng Zhao saying, he was like, yeah, of course Bitcoin's going to $1 million. What, like, does no one pay attention to what's happening? But we're getting kind of everyone announced. I mean, the only people who haven't been Jack Dorsey. Vitalik hasn't really said anything, but I mean, Vitalik is also his own kind of person. But yeah, Charles Hoskinson has chimed in to where he thinks the market is going to go. The Cardano founder indicated he believes adoption by major technology companies and clearer regulations will drive the next wave of growth in the cryptocurrency market. That's also been something that everyone has been saying. It came out of nowhere. Everyone is like, oh, because we have regulations now, prices are definitely going to go up. Speaking to CNBC on their, it's called the Beyond the Valley podcast, Hoskinson said investors are likely to adjust to the current macroeconomic environment, including a bunch of things going on and shifts in U.S. trade policy. He added that once markets stabilize and the U.S. Federal Reserve lowers interest rates, capital would start flowing back into digital assets. For those of you who missed maybe the last couple of videos, the idea is the idea. This is maybe not the reality. The idea is that once we get proper multiple words on the tariffs and when they're done and when they're not going to happen. Apparently, there are discussions right now with multiple other countries happening. Once we hear that the issue with tariffs in China is completely gone and off the table, people think that markets, really are going to start pumping a lot higher. For those of you who missed it, the only reason why markets have been down since the beginning of February has been because of the tariffs. On top of that, I don't know where people are getting this news from, but people think tomorrow, not actually tomorrow, but soon, that the Fed is going to lower interest rates. We had news from, was it Bank of America? It's a couple days ago. They had a review, and they think that we are going to see four different rate cuts. I'm not sure where they're getting these numbers from, but bless their hearts. They said May, July, I believe it was September and December, if I remember the months correctly, as to when that bank says the Fed is going to cut rates. I'm throwing my hands in the air. You can't see it, but they're definitely there right now. There's also been multiple other banks who have said count on 2 to 3 different rate cuts. And it's more like okay, sure. He said the markets will stabilize a little bit. They'll get used to the new normal. And then the Fed will lower interest rates. And then you'll have a lot of fast, cheap money. And then it'll pour into crypto. There's a little tweet for it right there. It says Bitcoin to $250,000 this year, and the Magnificent Seven are going to adopt stable coins. This was predicted by Charles Hoskinson. This, as you might have imagined, was quite popular news. If anyone says something like this, you're going to have a lot of interest in it. It's impossible to put into words. I am very interested to see where the rest of this year leads for the economy and also for the cryptocurrency market. We are getting indicators that also because of the tariffs, that the economy is shrinking and beginning to contract. And when this happens, it looks like we're moving into a recession. However, JP Morgan Chase, what's the other one? Some other big bank. Forgot the name. Another big bank says that it appears that we might already be in a recession, and that if this continues until the end of the year, this economic uncertainty, we might mosey on into a depression, mainly because the economy has kind of been wishy-washy since Coco Roro, and everyone is waiting for this big rebound. And the only thing stopping us from rebounding right now is the uncertainty from the tariffs. Yeah. Charles Hoskinson has predicted a $250,000 Bitcoin. It makes sense. It is going to happen. It's just a matter of when. We should be there right now, but gosh darn it, I will get there at some point in the future. That's the Charles Hoskinson talking about Bitcoin and stable coins, which is also a huge topic of discussion, which I'm not going to bring to you because it's stable coins. But every country, every bank has washed away the letters of CBDC, central bank digital currency, and they've rewritten in its place the word stable coins. And because it has the word, this isn't a joke, because it has the word stable in it, the public is totally fine with it. So, yeah, that's the Bitcoin news. Yeah, let's move on. Also in very popular news, and this keeps happening over and over, I believe this is the third or fourth one. Grayscale is trying to convert all of their funds, it seems like, into an ETF. They're trying to do the Solana one. They're trying to do the XRP one. I think there's a Litecoin one, if I'm not mistaken. There's another one that has 3 coins. And now this is their digital large cap fund as part of their proposal. Grayscale filed and submitted an S3 form with the US SEC. According to the US SEC's official website, the investment firm submitted the application on the 1st of April. This move comes no, yeah, I was right. That's not English. The move follows Grayscale's recent initiative to list and trade. Okay, the other one was Hedera. List and trade the Hedera ETF. Filed the 19B-4 form to get the HBAR ETF going. They also are trying to get an Avalanche one. So I don't know how many, I don't know how many funds they have in general. I assumed it was like 5, but clearly I'm mistaken. But it looks like they're trying to get all of them converted into an ETF. It appears that this is namely because the new SEC appears to be extremely crypto friendly. And as such, a lot of, if you missed it, the April, May, June kind of time frame, we are expecting, it's weeks away now at this point, but between May and June, we're expecting to see the actual yeses or nos from the US SEC as to if any of the 50 that are currently in line right now actually end up becoming ETFs. I don't have the time frame. I was asking people for the time frame for them before, and people were just giving me like really weird comments on Twitter, and I was like, oh, okay. I was trying to get some help here. But yeah, Grayscale is trying to convert another fund. This one is a popular fund. Here's the actual filing right here on the SEC's website. And the filing for the fund is currently holding Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Solana, and Cardano. I am very personally, I want to see if we end up getting any. I'm stretching. I'm so sorry. Oh my gosh, my back. I did this like, I don't know how to explain it. I was doing this like chest arm pull-up kind of exercise thing. And then I was also doing like a jump rope, like a weighted jump rope kind of. When I tell you I was exhausted after, and then when I woke up and my whole body was hurting, I was like, why you do this to me? So I have to keep stretching. Oh gosh, that feels terrible. Otherwise, anyway, the point basically being, I'm very interested to see if Cardano actually ends up getting an ETF over the course of this year. If you've noticed, there's been a lot of like energy surrounding Cardano, Hoskinson, and ADA in the last like 5 months, and I don't really know where it actually came from. We had the rumors that Charles Hoskinson was going to be working in the White House. That ended up not being true. We heard, which is even weirder, we heard on, on Twitter or whatever it was, the coins that the United States was going to be purchasing. And I think these are the ones on the screen as well. So Cardano being one of them, which also came completely out of left field because Hoskinson was like, I'm not working with anyone in the White House. So I don't know where a lot of this attention is coming from. Charles Hoskinson has also been in the news, as you've seen, a lot recently, talking about like, I love XRP, Ripple's amazing, and being like, yeah, we're going to integrate with Bitcoin. And now he's talking about Bitcoin price predictions. It's kind of like, I don't know, somebody's doing something behind the scenes or being very buddy, but yeah, these are also, I'm pretty sure, these are the coins that the US is also expecting to add to their reserve as well. So as it stands, Grayscale has a pretty good track record of getting things pushed through since Gary Gensler left, and also because of the lawsuit, yada, yada, yada. So this will probably go through, but I'm very fascinated to see like interest. And there's a lot of things that I can't wait to see. Yeah. That's the Grayscale is trying to shift another fund into an ETF. Very fascinating times ahead for this market. And yeah, Let's move on. Also in the news, Japanese public company Metaplanet has apparently secured another 2.63 billion yen in funding to expand their Bitcoin holdings. It doesn't have the number here in US dollars. I believe that's supposed to be 26 million. I think with the yen, I think you dropped 2 zeros if I'm not mistaken. So it should be 26 million because we have yet to hear of them raising $263 million at any given point. The move reinforces their commitment following the footsteps of Bitcoin as a hedge, yada, yada. Metaplanet's bold decision. Awesome. Fantastic. Cool. Metaplanet's, I mean, they how dare they? They weren't in the news for 3 days before. I'm shocketh. Yeah, good for them. They keep buying more. This is another institution. Whether prices go up or down, they continue accumulating large amounts of Bitcoin, and I assume we're going to hear from them again in 2.5 days that they did some more funding stuff like that. Who was the other one who we just heard about? Was it Marathon? I don't remember. There was some company a couple days ago who also is raising another. It's $500 million to buy more Bitcoin, and then I almost said Master Planet. Jeez Louise. What are they called? MicroStrategy. Master Planet. That's crazy. MicroStrategy. MicroStrategy announced that they were going to, I think, pause once again buying more Bitcoin, and then they bought more Bitcoin. And then they just said, like, if you missed it, they basically said if Bitcoin's price doesn't go up, then they can't meet their debt obligations. So, BTC has to GOONUP, go on up. Yes, I can spell. That's the Metaplanet news. Fantastic. Look at that. The rich getting richer. Yeah. Let's move on. Also yay, what? This is crazy. We're living in the future. News. Binance, it says, is bringing crypto one step closer to the mainstream with the integration of Apple Pay and Google Pay. Yay! Thanks to a new partnership with global payments provider WorldPay. There's so many pays there. It's kind of like, remember years? Oh, I used to hate this. When PayPal first came out, there were a lot of other companies who were trying to like mimic them. I forgot what they were called, but they all had the word pay in the front or pal in the back. It was like Money Pal, so-and-so. And I was like, why do you all Apple Pay, Google Pay? Isn't there also like an Amazon Pay or something like that? And now there's World Pay. You can't think of any other words. It's always the same ones. According to the official blog post, the move will allow users to purchase digital assets directly using cards linked to those popular wallets. Okay, so you'll be able to basically use Apple Pay to buy crypto. Is that no, never mind. I was going to ask it, is that a thing that people are asking for? But of course it is, because I was thinking of PayPal, but there's like 80 different options for people to. Isn't it weird that we have so many ways to pay, but like people don't just kind of choose 5 of them and just use those? There's always some kind of a like. I remember years ago, somebody was, I forgot what was it, and they were asking for like a bank transfer, and I was like through the bank, and they were like, yeah, like what's your bank? And I was like, you want my banking info? Like what? It's not the 1920s. It just didn't make any sense, but there's something for everyone, I guess. So I assume there were a lot of people who probably tapped their phones everywhere. They wanted to buy crypto with Google Pay. So here we are. Streamlining the on-ramp experience both on desktop and within the Binance app. The update is part of Binance's broader push to improve fiat accessibility in 2024. Do you remember years ago when we just couldn't? If you weren't here a decade ago, do you know how difficult it was to put money into crypto? It was near impossible. This isn't a joke. If your bank saw you sending in, like when you send money like through a bank account, you can tell like where it goes, like not only the string of numbers and letters, but like it'll say like which company it's going to. You know, a decade ago, if you were sending money to Coinbase and you saw that your bank saw the name Coinbase, they would cancel the transaction and sometimes freeze your account. If you were taking money, heaven forbid, if you were taking money out of any crypto exchange, they would also freeze your account because they thought you were laundering money. There were people who had their entire bank account frozen because they took out $16 from Coinbase. It was terrible years ago. It was such a huge problem. Banks kept on saying they didn't want to work with crypto, and then you realize now that it was all of them just making sure that they could buy at lower prices and no one else had access to it. It was really, really insane. That's why, do you remember, I think it was called Local Bitcoins. That was a website which also got completely demolished and taken down for a number of stupid reasons. Well, basically, these countries kept on saying it had to do with money laundering. And everyone was like, no one is walking around with $30,000, $40,000 in their pocket to go buy some crypto. And then, I don't know, and listen, tinfoil hat, I don't know if this was a setup, but it was a little bit too perfect. There was a guy somewhere in Scandinavia who allegedly was on the website, was trying to buy some crypto, and this guy had like $30,000 to $40,000 on him in his pocket. I'm not joking. It's an old article. Try and look for like 2017, 2018. He apparently met a group of gentlemen in an alleyway, and he got, and they took all of his money, and then governments were like, see, it's dangerous. We can't use that anymore. And the people were like, okay, cool. We won't go into dark alleyways and give people paper money anymore, which also doesn't make any sense because the guy was supposed to have been young. And if you know anything about Scandinavia, they don't even use cash. If you haven't been to Norway, Denmark, no one uses cash. Even people who are not well off on the street, they literally have like cardboard cutouts with like QR codes on them. So the story about this guy, I don't know, all of it seemed a little bit too weird. Anyway, the point being, it was it was nearly impossible. And it would take days for the money to actually deposit. And when they announced that they had partnered or whatever in some sort of way with Visa and MasterCard, and you could use a card to transfer money, we were like, what? What are you like? This is nearly instantaneous. That was the real change in the world. It says in 2024 alone, Binance expanded support to over 125 currencies, added more than 1,000 payment methods, and launched services in 20 new countries, including mobile money integration in 9 African nations. This is cool. Awesome. I mean, it's not the most exciting thing that we've ever talked about, but it's nice to see this kind of like integration, allowing more people to actually get into the market. It was terrible years ago. The thing that hurt the most, I mean, besides the banks being evil, was them telling us that we couldn't get into crypto because it was bad. It was for this specific kind of person. Ladies of the night are using it. It was all these different things, and then come to find out in 2020 that they had all been buying since 2014 and had done everything in their power to make sure that we could not get into it. It was terrible. Banks are evil and awful. And this is why we should just be conducting on chain, but that's another conversation for another time. That's the Binance news. Wow, Apple Pay. That sounds futuristic. Paying with apples. And yeah, let's move on. Also in the news, lawmakers in Minnesota and Alabama have filed companion bills to identical existing bills. Okay. Are those 4 more bills? Okay. That if passed into law would allow each state to buy Bitcoin. This is like every other day news. We just got news that apparently Oklahoma said no. Yeah, they came out and said nope. It was a 6-5 vote for accumulating Bitcoin within the state. But according to Dennis Porter, and namely Dennis Porter. Oh, and the other chick, what's her name? Kapalafala, Miss Ladyface. Wait, Cynthia Lummis nailed it. Oh my gosh, I'm so smart. She also is apparently talking about that other states are gearing up to begin to accept and buy and hold Bitcoin as well. So maybe Oklahoma was just a fluke. The Minnesota Bitcoin Act, or HF 2946, was introduced to the state's House by Republican Representative Bernie Perryman on the 1st of April, following an identical bill introduced on the 17th of March by State Senator Jeremy Miller. Why are some states doing that? It's actually really weird. We had news, this was a month ago. Was it Texas? There was some state where someone came forward and put forth a Bitcoin bill, to accumulate Bitcoin. And then 4 days later, someone else did a nearly identical bill, but it would allow for more money to be put into Bitcoin. And then 2 weeks after, someone in that same state put forth another bill, and it's like, can you all read? Do you know that person just did the exact same thing? So maybe they're doing it to give it a better chance. Maybe there's certain prerequisites that they think need to be. Why would you file an identical existing bill if it's already proposed for law? Meanwhile, on the same day, Alabama Republican State Senator Will Barfoot introduced Senate Bill 283, while a bipartisan group of representatives led by Republican Mike Shaw filed the identical House Bill 482, which allows for the state to invest in crypto, but essentially limits it to Bitcoin. Oh, okay. Cool. So, yeah, these bills keep coming out. Apparently, according to Dennis and Madame Cynthia, we are going to see a multitude of these in Q2 being passed, with the rest of them being passed sometime over the summer. Yeah, not really much more to say. I think this says there are 26 states. 26 states right now who are trying to pass some kind of a Bitcoin Accumulation Reserve Act law. Let's see which states actually end up getting it. We were under the impression that in January this was all going to happen. For those of you who weren't here, we were told several times that in January this would all be, cranked out relatively quick. And I mean, to be fair, I get it. It's not May yet. I'm very impatient. I have a thing where, like, if someone says, like, okay, cool, let's do that in summertime, by February I'm like, why aren't we there? Like, what's the fudge and hold up? So cool. Awesome. Let's see if any of these actually end up getting passed. I think that's going to do it for this video. Hope you're all doing well. I hope you're all doing great. I hope you're all taking care of yourself. I hope you're all drinking water. I hope you're all doing something fun for yourself at least once a week. Hope you're all calling old friends and connecting with people and finding some time to smile. I know crypto is very important, but don't forget that you also have to think about yourself as well. Hope you've all enjoyed. Hope you all are having a great day, morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, wherever the heck you might be. I do hope it is absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, liking, commenting, and supporting. And I will most certainly be talking. Oh, I kind of like that one. It's a nice color. Like the see-through red. Oh, yeah, be talking to you all out of stock. All soon. See you.